Welcome back to A View from the Mic. We're going to finally get into Mike's pile and go through some of this stuff. No, we're not. We're going to talk about not football. We're going to let Chet do that. I want to talk about the greatest game in the world, bar none. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I think it's the greatest game. I played the game, and I'm passionate about it. And when I go to the United Center now for the first time, when I went to the United Center for the first time when they got this nucleus of great players, all of a sudden the fans started coming back. And the Zamboni crew actually outnumbered crowds 6 years ago. All of a sudden you can't get a seat, and that's wonderful. Except a lot of the fans really are not familiar with the game the way I think they should be. There are some old-timers, but we have thousands, maybe 75% of the fans are new and have really never played the game at any significant level, and they have no idea of what they're watching out there. These are the best athletes, I think, in the world. Most professional sports require at least you have to be a good, fast, quick runner. But in this sport, you have to be a world-class skater. That eliminates almost everybody, unless you started skating when you're 3 or 5 years old, which very few people have done. So right off the bat, you've eliminated 90% of the population who plays sports. So these fellas are playing when they're 3 years old, when they're 5 years old. They're joining leagues just after that. They're playing 75 to 100 games a year. They're practicing another 500 hours, another 100 hours of off-ice training. They even have nutritionists before they're 10 years old. They're playing against ferocious competition. There's parents now that are seeing these kids going to join the NHL. So you have teams traveling already, and the traveling players get an edge over the other players, and already there's a separation starting with the elite, and the traveling teams are usually the players that ultimately are going to end up having a shot at the NHL. These players were always the best player in their neighborhood, the best player in their school, the best player in their town, and on and on and on until they get to Division I hockey or the NHL minor leagues. And all of a sudden, they're not on the first line anymore. That's how tough this competition is. And you have maybe not only the skating that's required, but one of the most violent games in the world. It's really confined to a small rink. The players are bigger than ever. They're shooting pucks at 85 to 100 miles an hour, and somebody's going to get hurt. So the only people that survive in this sport are the strongest skaters, checkers, and passers and shooters. That's how it works. You seldom see players playing less than all out, because if they dog it, they're going to get hurt and, of course, benched. Also, players are battling against world-class opponents. You have to deal with not only those tough opponents, but ice conditions, the boards, the glass, late in the game, early in the game. A lot of people don't realize that when you're passing a puck late in a period, the ice is worn out. So those pucks bounce a little bit, so their hand-eye coordination has to be fantastic for them to compete. Also, they're playing the fastest game in the world. Some of the skaters are over 25 miles an hour. Stop on a dime and then take off in the other direction. They're also colliding at those speeds. They're absorbing 85 to 100 mile an hour shots with their bodies, dropping down to block shots. You have no idea how much that hurts, because they don't have half the equipment that a goalie has. They're spending 25 minutes or more on the ice, expending 6,000 calories or more, and probably losing 10 pounds in a game. So these fellas are leaving it all out there. They are shooting and receiving and passing pucks at full tilt, with people harassing them with sticks and grabbing onto them. They're even expected to fight against opponents that often they are overmatched, but they're doing that to give their team a lift. They receive many bone-jarring checks per game, and then after all this, they hop on a plane to go to some far city and then do it all over again the next night. Many of these players in a game have their teeth loosened, knocked out. If you remember Duncan Keith in the San Jose series 2 years ago in the Stanley Cup run, 7 teeth knocked out, he only missed 2 shifts. Are these athletes overpaid? Perhaps, but how many people in the stands can play this game? Armchair critics, that's what they are, and there's a famous quote about them: a statue has never been erected in honor of a critic. So the next time you go to the United Center and see these players, remember, there's 10,000 hours that happen before those men take the ice. This has been A View from the Mic.